Okay, so in this video, we're gonna put together our cute little freebie here. And I'm gonna begin by doing a little pre-assembly here. And what I wanna do is, I'm gonna get this piece glued onto the front here. It's just our little panel. So I'm just gonna do that while it's flat. It's just a lot easier to work with when things are flat. So just get a little bit of glue on there. You don't want to cake it on too much, and make sure you get some glue out to the edge so that things lay nicely, and do your best to get that nice and centered so that we have a nice even border going all the way around. And then just push and hold that down and allow it to dry. Okay. And actually, before I do anything else, I want to go ahead and we're going to actually emboss these pieces here. And I've got this embossing folder by Doris. I'm going to pop my pieces in here, and they're just the perfect size to fit in there horizontally so that we can get a nice little pattern on there. Okay, so I'm going to just pop these in here and close it down. And I'm using a cuddle bug today. So we're going to open this guy up and get it sandwiched in my little plates here. And just run that through. The handy dandy cuddle bug. Okay, let's put this guy away. Okay, so there's a nice little pattern there, and also I'm going to ink this. And I'm going to grab a tone that is just slightly darker. Let's test this out on some white and see what it looks like. Okay, that's not too bad. And I want to find my little pad here because I don't like, with some of these inks, you can use it. I think this is more for maybe stamping rather than inking, but you can still use it. Just might have to kind of grab a little pad to sort of soften the ink here. So let me grab my little pad here. Okay, so I'm going to grab just a white sheet of paper so that I can kind of do a little blending. Not blending, but just kind of, I'm going to get some ink just on the corner here because I'm going to use this same pad to do my flowers. And I'm just going to run that across my paper until I feel like I've got just the right amount coming off. And I'm going to go ahead and just slightly and gently ink the corners and edges of this piece here, just to kind of give it a little bit of a gradient look on the edge there, so it doesn't look too plain Jane on me. Might need a little more there. It's actually coming off a lot quicker than I thought it would. So just gently ink the edges. I mean, you don't have to, this is optional. It just kind of makes it look nicer. Okay, so I'm going to ink the rest of these pieces here, and we're going to go ahead and ink the flowers too. So if you're inking, go ahead and ink, and I will meet you at the next step here in just a few seconds. Okay, so I've got those little strips inked, and I want to ink these two pieces as far as the flowers go. I've got a little orange pigment there that will darken that up nicely. And I want to maybe see if I can find a nice yellow ink. It might be a little difficult to get something darker than that yellow that I have. I'm going to try it on the back here and see if that even makes a difference. It really doesn't, so I'm kind of thinking that I may go with this pumpkin spice color on the, there we go, just to kind of liven that up a little bit. Just inking the edges nicely. And maybe running it on the actual petal there, just to kind of give it a little more interest so it's not just plain old yellow. Okay. So we get that inked, and then I'm thinking probably on the other piece here, probably do the same color. It'll look a little different since it's got its own little color there, and I'm not even sure if that's showing up, so I'm going to go a little bit heavier on it. There we go. That's coming through pretty nice. There we go. Get that nice and inked on there, and maybe even, there we go. Okay, so we've got all our little pieces inked. We can go ahead and start putting this guy together. Okay, so while we still have this flat, I want to go ahead and I'm going to put the rest of this stuff on here now while it's flat. It's just going to be a lot easier to work with. Okay, so I'm going to get this first piece glued on. The other pieces, probably want to glue those on after we get this assembled, only because it'll be easier to gauge where to put the little strip so that it's continuous. Okay, so for this, I'm going to put this right about here and just glue that down. We'll put the flower on last after it's completely assembled so that we don't risk damaging the flower while we're actually putting the box together. Okay, so there's what that's looking like so far. I'm going to get this out of the way so I don't get ink on anything. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are simply going to connect this piece like so. Okay, so that is going to get glued on like that. So we want to go ahead and put glue on this tab here. This yellow is very vibrant. And I was looking at YouTube comments today, and I got yelled at for wiping off my finger under my desk. Someone caught that. And I should probably get a little rag or something, which is what I told you guys to do, but you know, do as I say, not as I do. I'll just clean that off eventually if I have to, if it starts to get caked under there. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Okay, so I'm just gluing that to that little section there. Okay, and then you can kind of fold it over and push down to really get it to hold. Okay, just like that. That looks great. And then we can fold this in and glue that down since it's already pretty much positioned for us. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get that glued into place. And just push that down. Just make sure it's nice and centered there and the little score lines there at the bottom match up. And just push that down and let that dry. And we can actually flip it this way too. It's kind of like a box card right now. Okay, so you know what? Since this thing's still flat and we have this panel on here, we may as well get this thing glued on. Okay, so we can go ahead and get our glue on the rest of these little strips here. Okay, and just kind of nudge that up against the other one and push and hold that down until it's dry. Okay, and then you can flip it over again and get the other one glued. Make sure you get that glue out to the edge there. Okay. Actually, this one, I'm gonna do this one while it's like this so that it butts up against there perfectly. Okay, so you can do it either way. Make sure that it's nice and straight so it doesn't look cockeyed. Okay, just push that down and then we can get the one on the back glued down. And I am actually going to place that while the box is dimensional. So we'll get our glue on there. And if you ever feel like you got too much glue, just pat it down and rub some of it off. Okay, and get that nice and centered there. There we go. You can flip it over and then push down from the inside to really get that in place. Okay, so we have our little band on there. We can go ahead and fold these in slightly, and let's get our glue. Let's see if you can see that. Yep. Get our glue on these tabs here. It's a cute little box. A good way to present someone with some cute little notepads they can use for to-do lists or grocery lists or whatever. I know I still use I've got an app on my phone, but I do like to sometimes write notes with my little errands that I need to run or things that I need to do around the house, because I feel like it gets me motivated and more focused, I guess, with what I need to get done that day. And this is just a cute little way to store and also gift some cute little notepads. And I bought some today at a really cute store in my local town of Geneva called Country Naturals. The nice ladies there always remember me, and we always talk, and I try to give them some tips on Facebook and ask them when their fall stuff's coming out, and really enjoy going there. It's really fun. Okay, so it's pretty much done. We do have a little liner piece, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the little tabs in there. I'm not going to put it anywhere else. Okay, and just shove that right in. Okay, there we go. Looking cute. And then we can go ahead and put our flower on, and we're pretty much done here. Okay, so I'm going to take this white flower here, and what we want to do to give this thing some life is just kind of pinch the petals right toward the end there, just to kind of wake them up a little bit so they don't look so flat. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then the rest of it is pretty much self-explanatory. I'm also probably going to curl these a little bit, because it's still, even doing that, it's still kind of flat. So we'll just grab a small dowel. You should probably get away with using your fingers just to kind of pull these out. You don't want to bend them, so you definitely want to train them. You know, maybe even just kind of pinch it in the middle just to kind of give it some life. Okay, so kind of like that. You know, if you're new to Dreaming Tree, this may be a good little project to start with. So you can see here, I'm just kind of grabbing a dowel, and I may need to repinch those leaves. Probably should have done this first, but that's okay. And there you go. Just gonna pinch the tips of those little petals there. They're not leaves, they're petals. This is a flower. Okay. Maybe don't want to do too much of a pinch, and try to add some variation on there. Okay, so let me grab my little pick-me-up tool. There's this one little tiny piece here. Somebody asked in one of the last videos what this tool was. It's by Silhouette. It's called a pick-me-up. It's really good for really, really tiny pieces like this. So I'm just going to pop that in the center like that. And I'm going to pop this in the center. I'm trying to figure out, yeah, I'm going to put a pop dot under the yellow part. So I'm going to grab this, get a little bit of glue on there, and just dab it a little bit so it doesn't run out. Get that nice and centered. I think my pink piece is a little bit off, but that's okay. I'm going to grab this whole thing. Actually, no, just going to go ahead and pop dot that. So flip this guy over, put a nice fat little pop dot on the back there, and put that right in the center of this flower. And then I'm going to grab another pop dot. I might want to get two. Let's see how many we can fit on here. Don't like to be stingy with the pop dots, because I find that if you put one in there, it doesn't always sit perfectly, but that looks great. Okay, and then we center that right there, and there you go, super cute.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.